I think the biggest misconception is that substance use disorders only affect the person who is struggling with substance use disorders. Hi, I'm Susan Wilkinson. I am the founder and president of Ally Foundation. We are a nonprofit 501c registered in the state of Massachusetts. We are working with a major mandate of helping families that are dealing with loved ones who have substance use disorders. And the reason for this video is also to really inform you about our efforts on the ground, as Albert from Recovery Uganda will also detail along the way, is that we need a collaborative approach.
My name is Albert Alwa. I'm a director and focus on Recovery Uganda, and I'm one of the founding members. Majorly we do treatment for different mental health conditions, but our special emphasis like addiction. We also do community outreaches to schools, different community centers, talk to people, screen people, and guide them where they can get services. And then we run aftercare programs. That's also part of our recovery program, where we try to keep those that are in recovery in close contact, and we try to keep giving them information to help them stay afloat.
In our partnership with Recovery Uganda, they are helping the individual who's actually struggling with substance use, and our part in our collaboration is actually to work with them to help families, caretakers, loved ones, friends, and the general public to really rally behind people who are struggling with substance use disorders.
So there is a misconception about addiction. People think that we don't want to be productive members of society, but that is not true. You begin using substances thinking that you're going to have fun, of which you do actually. You have your fun in the initial stages, but then the dream becomes a nightmare. I first started experimenting with alcohol and drugs when I was in senior 2, and my guardians were very frustrated. I think they thought that maybe they attributed my problems maybe to witchcraft and my moral failing, but I just didn't know back in the day that addiction is actually a disease. And it wasn't witchcraft. I've just discovered that this is actually a disease which most people don't know about.
We would always go outside school, see your friends having some small packs of alcohol, and then you want to find out how it tastes. So little by little I started taking, and yet I didn't know that I was actually getting into captivity. So later on I dropped a problem, kind of was like ulcers, but it wasn't, and they found I had a liver problem, and which had actually resulted from alcohol. When I joined campus, I was on my way of recovering. My father was murdered, so he died. So when he died, I felt so bad and depressed. So I went back to drinking. The problem intensified, and now I had new other caretakers, so they actually treated me bad, and so it was hard for me. So I felt like maybe I'm just not needed, because they started treating me bad after that trauma of losing my dad. I go outside to drink, and then on my way back I lose my best friend. So because she was very drunk, and then they knocked her. So I came back home, and they told me to find elsewhere to stay. So it was so much hard for me.
When it comes to substance use disorders, as you can all attest, the impact on families is immense. Unfortunately, where we are working to create some changes, especially in low and middle income countries, substance use carries a stigma and shame as well as guilt that oftentimes families resort to cutting off their loved ones at a time when they really need the help. So our job is really to come in and support families, provide factual information about addictions, the whole process from a biological standpoint, but also empower them, as well as providing a space where they can walk through those feelings of frustration, the feelings of betrayal, the feelings of anger, everything that they have experienced while supporting their loved ones. And with that, then the individual who's actually struggling with what substance use can have an opportunity, can have a fighting chance to continue working on themselves as we are helping their loved ones continue to support them.
Around that time when my colleagues were graduating, people at home couldn't tolerate me. They wanted me to go and study, but I couldn't study. So I couldn't be with them because even at home I was a nuisance to myself and to everybody. And I knew in a time I was dying, but I couldn't help myself. Then I started getting arrested. Petty crimes. At the time I even got arrested for causing an accident. I was driving somebody's car. But I just didn't know where to find help.
My passion for mental health is informed by my own lived experience. I battled alcohol use disorder and other substance misuse for a period of 13 years, from the age of 15 to 28, where I basically lost it all. Messed up my education, my job, I lost my fiancé, I battled cancer. So with all these experiences, I felt that I needed to be part of something powerful that helped the next person avoid the pitfalls of arguably the biggest cancer of the 21st century, which is the disease of addiction.
Somebody was moving around, I think in their outreach program. It was from a company called Recovery Uganda. They found me in one of those slums in Wandegear, and they told me about the program of recovery, and they asked whether I wanted help, and God knew I was dying for help, but I didn't know where to find the help.
Rita and Mark's stories are just but a few of the stories of the several people that have gone through the treatment programs at Focus on Recovery Uganda. However, the vast majority of Ugandans who need these services cannot afford it or are not aware of it. Rita, for example, reached out to us through our Facebook page. Very few Ugandans have access to social media. Mark was lucky to be in the right place at the right time. But our work is limited. We cannot be in all these areas in order to access all these people who need this treatment due to mostly logistical restrictions.
We are using a training model called Invitation to Change, which is geared towards helping families understand we are combining compassion, we are combining science together so that we are able to actually empower families and loved ones to understand that their frustration is valid, their betrayal is valid. However, this is not the time to cut off their loved ones. Instead, this is actually the time for them to dig deeper and support their loved ones.
Talking of treatment, treatment also comes with its own interesting challenges that are informed by the statistics we use. For example, you'll find that 87.3% of those in treatment are 25 and above, and of these 84.6% have attained secondary education. So you find that the most vulnerable cannot access treatment, and the percentages of what substances people that go for treatment are using, you find that alcohol still carries the cake with 52%, and followed by cannabis, and then heroin, cocaine, meth, and these other drugs take the rest. But then even the 52% of alcohol, there's another interesting statistic, because only 11% of these are female. And out of these 11% female taking alcohol, you find that the total population of those in treatment, females in treatment that are doing other drugs is 49%, and then others are for other behavioral addictions.
There is no system on the ground to really help people. So we are grateful that Recovery Uganda can actually bridge that gap and step in to really address that need. Conversely, on the other hand, there is no system to really address support for the loved ones. And this is where we come in, Your Ally Foundation.
Your Ally Foundation and Focus on Recovery Uganda have gone into a partnership, and what we strive to achieve is to see that more and more people get this help, that more and more people are sensitized, more and more people know that this is a disease that can be treated, and stereotypes like witchcraft and moral failure are eventually erased from the mindset of the ordinary Ugandan.
Using the Invitation to Change model, we are working with the Center for Motivation to Change to roll it out in the communities, both in the African diaspora, in the Boston and New England area, as well as back home in Uganda and Zambia. The goal is to train families initially and to really empower them, as well as training trainers in the community so that trainers in these communities can continue training others. That way we can have a far-reaching impact. So join me in this quest to bring Invitation to Change to the African diaspora community in the Boston area and New England area at large, as well as Kampala and Lusaka.
And now the biggest challenge so far, at least from my point of view, is that there are so many people that need these services. And what we offer is just a drop in the ocean.
You're probably wondering, how can you help? Yes, you can help. I'm currently inviting you to partner with us and help us fundraise for the costs to cover the trainings in these communities that I did talk about.
You out there can be of help. With $100, we can be able to safely detox 4 people. With $1,000, we can provide treatment and psychotherapy for 2 people for a month. We can provide outreach and screening to 5 education facilities, and we can also provide outreach and screening to 3 community centers. By community centers, we just go to the villages, or we partner with the local hospitals and set up camps.
$100 can help train one individual, one caretaker virtually, whereas $1,000 can train 2 trainers who can then go on and train everyone else in the community. I'm also inviting you to get to know us on our website, yourallyfoundation.com, as well as Recovery Uganda.